Do you have deep-seated trust issues? Well, my name is Jacqueline Rose, and I do not think it's a coincidence that you're here. I think you're meant to be here. So if this message resonates with you, click like and subscribe to my channel. This channel is about the spiritual awakening process, the ascension process, self-help, self-love, and self-awareness. My intentions here are always pure. I'm just trying to help anybody along on their journey. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips that helped me with my trust issues and some examples. That's what I always do. So first tip is notice your thoughts and notice when the trust issue is coming up. A lot of us are not aware of our thoughts and not aware that our thoughts are things, okay? And we can tune into whatever thought we want, but you have to be aware of it. So for instance, let's say there's an example that you feel like you got to lock up everything all the time. You got to lock your car. Look, I'm going to tell you that I have this example too. Like I use this. You got to lock up your car. You got to lock up your house. You got to make sure everything's locked because somebody might steal your shit. That's a trust issue, okay? I live in a neighborhood. I do lock up my stuff, by the way, so don't try to come jack me. But I live in a neighborhood where there's plenty of cameras. There are, at least in my cul-de-sac, there's plenty of camera. There's always people looking out. I really don't have any reason to really be worried about somebody coming to jack my shit. But I do worry about it because I've had it happen before. So what I'm doing is referencing something that happened from the past. Of course, you don't want to repeat the same thing. One time I was going hiking with my husband or going down to the river, and he always says, you can leave your purse here. You can leave it. We can hide it in the car. Well, I have had my purse stolen out of my car or a car before, broken out a window and had my, so I learned from that lesson. I'm not going to leave my purse. I can just carry it with me. It's cool. Or I just only take what I need to take with me on the hike, right? I just learned from it. I get that. And I get that there's a trust issue there. But when you're doing that with everything in life, that is now managing you. It's now controlling you. So sometimes if you really have faith in the divine, you kind of just have to let things happen and not let your trust issue control everything in your life. So one thing is notice the thoughts. Notice that you always are like, you know, something bad could happen. Because my brain always went to something bad could happen all the time. And I had to start noticing that. And if, let's say, you visualize somebody doing something shady to you, like doing something that, I don't know, taking money from you or swindling, trying to like get something over on you. The second tip that's worked for me, and I say this with a lot of things, just with negative thoughts in general, because trusting, it can be a negative thought, is to picture yourself, really visualize yourself. And when I say visualize, I don't always mean, which I work on this I don't always mean visualizing it like a movie, like you're watching yourself do something. Visualize yourself in your body. And you're going into this work opportunity where you think somebody is going to swindle the money out of you. Trust your instincts. I'm saying that. Trust your intuition. But also we want to reprogram our subconscious brain because we can choose what path we want to go on. When you know there's infinite paths for you to go on, you know that you can choose which one you want to go on, right? And so you want to go in there and imagine that you're in your body and you're walking into a place and you're sitting down and you're being your authentic self and you're being trustworthy and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do in this business deal, and that person will do the same with you. You want to start envisioning yourself in your body, not as a camera or as a photo strip, but envision yourself doing the right thing and they're doing the right thing back. We want to reprogram that everybody is going to vibrationally match with you. Now, I'm not saying that everything will always be good for you and that nobody will swindle you, because this takes a while. But you have to have trust in the divine that no matter what, they're putting the right people in your life. And if you're doing with everything with integrity, then that's what's going to be matched. But if you don't do things with integrity and you live in the fear, then that's because that fear vibration is in your aura, if that makes sense. I always say if that makes sense, sorry. It's just how I interpret it. So I just want to teach other people. So that's tip number 2, really visualizing yourself having the good outcome. Keep doing that. If you do that repetitively, always visualizing the good outcome and saying the words of affirmation over and over, no, this is going to turn out good. You can quantum jump yourself onto that timeline. I've had it happen, okay? It takes a little work, but you can do it. The third tip is that you have to tell yourself, that's what I'm saying, the words of affirmation. You have to tell yourself over and over and over again, what could go right? See, I have these fears of like I was talking to a neighbor the other day, and I was talking about this business that I want to start. I got some goals. And so I was just saying something about the business, like, oh, you know, this opportunity. And she was like immediately. And I said, are you thinking about what could go wrong? And she was like, yeah, I'm trying not to. And I go, we have to start thinking about what can go right. And I'm going to put a little short video out on this, so this is just an extension. But you have to start thinking about what could go right in your life. We are so trained because it's a program, people. It's a program in your mind. But we are trained by media and our environment and our upbringing that things go wrong all the time. And so you have to take a different approach. And what could go right? What could go right? What could the good outcome of this happening? What if the person does stand by their word? Not what if, the person is going to stand by their word. This man that is entered my life now is going to be good to me. This friendship is going to turn out great. This new boss that I have is going to turn around and they're going to be so much nicer to me. And you want to like constantly think, what could go right? What could go right? What could go right? Instead of what could go wrong. Because my mind, until I was really able to sit there and think about my thoughts, my mind would go to like the worst possible scenario. Years ago when I lost my daughter, I went to a different therapist 8-9 years ago. And I told her, I always think of the worst possible scenario always happening in my head. And she goes, well, I think that's because we think about the worst possible scenario and see if we could cope with that. It's like a coping mechanism, which is true, but it's not something we should do. In my opinion, all this stuff is my opinion. I always want to repeat that. In my opinion, you want to think of the best possible scenario, not the worst possible scenario. Because in my life, the best possible scenario did happen a whole lot of the time. It did. And I never saw it because I was concentrating on what bad could happen. Okay? So we want to shift our thoughts on envisioning the good, picking up on the bad thoughts. You have to pick up on it. The awareness is the first step. I'm having this bad thought. I'm thinking this bad thing's going to happen. How do I change that? Well, I'm going to start picturing this, that it's not going to. I'm going to start envisioning that this is not going to. And I'm going to start speaking out. My boss is always nice to me. Me and my boss get along all the time. My boyfriend, my husband, is so kind to me. We connect on a deeper level. My best friend and me get along all the time. You speak things and they mean something. Your thoughts, your words, your actions are all energy. So that's why I say learn about energy. These all things are energy. So where do you want to put your energy? If your energy is cash that you're spending, where do you want to spend your cash? Do you want to spend your cash on the worst possible scenario? Or do you want to spend your cash on the best possible scenario? It's up to you. You have your life in your hands. There is infinite possibilities for your life. Where are you going to direct your attention? Because one kid could see an alcoholic and do the opposite of what they do, and one kid could see an alcoholic and do the same. They saw the same things, but one picked up on one frequency and one picked up on the other. So where are you going to pick up on? Okay? But anyways, I hope I explained this well. I hope you have a wonderful day. Holler for a mofo dollar.